Welcome, everybody, to the One More Thing Tech podcast. I'm your host, Quasi,
Madam.
and today we have a very special guest. Everybody give it up for Chase.
Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here. I love these guys, so this is going to be fun.
All right,
It's
so
gonna be
just a
fun.
little bit about Chase. Chase is one of the smartest people I've talked to about this year. He always has some great, this might sound like a little bit of glaze, but he always has some great takes. And, he always brings a new perspective to any conversation we have when we're working. So that's why we brought him on the show today. And Chase, if you just want to let them know a little bit about you, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I primarily for work do like video production and event production at a university, and so we're always running around problem solving, figuring out all sorts of things. And on top of that, it's like big Apple fan over here, right? Like I've pretty much got all the stuff that it can be afforded, and so fancy watch to iPad to MacBook, like gadgets are my friend, and so this kind of stuff really excites me. And so and a little bit of fun about me, I guess, if you want to know about my personal life just a touch, like I love running. I've done some triathlons, training for the marathon this year, so I'm about to get real busy with running and all of that. So yeah, but I'm sure you'll learn more about me as we kind of go on, because all my opinions are kind of shaped by my life. So
That's awesome. I personally don't like running, but, more power to you.
Most people don't. I mean, the last conversation I had about running literally went like this. I don't know that I like running, but I like saying that I went for a run today, which is a very different thing than I actually want to be on the run. You're out there and you're like, I don't really want to be here. But then later you're like, I'm really glad I did that.
Feeling.
There are some people that run because they had to for survival, and some that just do it for fun. So it's nice.
Yeah, Adam's only
Some that are
running
on
if
a
he's getting
football
chased
team
by
and have
something,
to
I'm
do it.
sure.
I used to run. I just, man, I don't know. Should get back into it at some point. Okay,
More power to you.
so I know last week we had one surprise episode midweek, and we had plans to record that same week again for a Friday release, and there was an incident with Quasi that we had to
Yes,
just kind of
sorry,
push back, and
everyone.
that's okay.
I
No,
started
it's
dying.
not. Don't be mad,
It's
Quasi.
not
You want to give
great.
him the scoop really quick? What happened, Quasi?
So actually two things happened. First, I went to the dentist, right? I had to go to the dentist because, one day I was flossing and my filling came out, and I was like, you know what? I'll wait till I get out of the semester for me to go get this fixed, and I'll just fix it when I'm home. That way my parents can cover it. Because, let me tell you something. Dental is expensive, dude. Getting a filling is like $800. I don't have $800 in my bank account. Actually, that's not true. I don't have $800 for dental in my bank account. So, I waited, and then, I got home, and I was like, hold on. Why does my tooth feel like this? And it wasn't a great feeling. It just hurt a lot. And so, I went and saw the dentist the very next day, and then they told me they're going to give me a root canal. So moral of the story is don't wait, and you might be able to save your tooth a little bit. And then also, the very next day, it was Friday. I don't know what happened to me. Well, I do. I had food poisoning, but all my energy was just sapped, and it was not a great feeling. So that's my fault for last week. There were supposed to be 2 episodes, but we couldn't make it happen.
It's okay. We're gonna kick back this week. So we did have an episode every week still. We haven't missed that. That's a big point of it, though. So to continue on, though, Apple with WWDC last week announced some more things besides what we talked about, and that is WatchOS 26. One thing I want to get is Chase's perspective, because he's a runner, and there is some nice features, even with the show notes that we have from Apple, that runners are going to like. What are your thoughts, Chase?
Well, let me talk about the first thing, and I think it's the thing that people hear and they see, and they're like, do we really need this, and is this really going to be helpful? And like Apple often does, they make it helpful, and they're going to potentially make it valuable. But I remember the first thing that I noticed is when we get into this whole concept of this workout buddy, it's like I don't know that runners are looking for their watch to talk to them more, right? It's like we want stuff to be more useful. I don't necessarily need a coach. So I'm curious to see how this pushes forward as we talk about thank you. I'm really glad that you're going to it's like, they demonstrate it like this nice calming voice is like, good morning, I'm glad that you're out for a run today. You have lately been running this pace and all this stuff. And I laugh because it further, there's always this competition between Apple Watch and Garmin and like all the other competitors and what they're doing. And the stigma is that like Garmin's coaching strategy is mean and forward and you're never doing enough. And now we're seeing more evidence that Apple is in their camp, which is, you're doing great. I'm really glad that you're out here doing this today. And so I'm really curious to see what that's like, because to me, I look at it and I go, this is not something that like people need, but somebody must want it. Somebody must be like, this is a useful thing. Or we're just in the wild world of Apple Intelligence is just getting used for more and more things, and we're trying to figure out where it'll land and how it'll actually work.
Well, you gotta do something with Apple Intelligence. I think metrics are nice, though, right? I mean, just having that you've reached your halfway point, or you're at mile 2 of 10, or something like that. It's kind of cool to see. So you don't have to look at your watch so much.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how some of that works, because you can get your Apple Watch to do a lot of those things now if you put in the work to tell it. You have to be very specific. Like, I want you to tell me this. I want you to tell me when I get to this point. If I go in and like, I could tell I want to run 5 miles today, and it's going to tell me when I reach 2.5, right? Like, it's going to give me the halfway point. But it's very, there's no like character to it. There's no building to it. Like this does have the potential of giving you more useful information without you needing to work so hard for it, which could be, there's immense value in that. And the moment, like most things that are new, the moment that you have it, you will realize you would miss it if it was gone. And I think this is going to be like one of those things, like as more and more runners like get into this. And it's good for Apple, because I think like Apple needs to put themselves deeper into the athletic space. I've had a bunch of conversations about this. Like, if you're getting an Apple Watch because you're a runner, like, they're still not there yet, right? You get an Apple Watch because you love Apple's ecosystem and you like the other things that come with it. So it's like, I have an Apple Watch not because it's my best answer for this, and so, but because I want the way it interacts with all the other things that I have. And so I'm always hopeful that Apple will be able to do better in the space of running. And like, they built the Apple Watch Ultra in the first place, and they talked about it being the first watch that could complete an Ironman, right? Because the battery life was finally there. Well, it's like, yeah, but your competitors you could do that and then still not charge it for days. And so there's some of these like other things so I'm excited to see that they're even in the space and thinking about how do we make the fitness side of things better, because the reality is a wearable is often like a lot about fitness. Like, that's just the reality. That's kind of how they started getting there. That's why we were putting technology in watches in the first place.
Absolutely. And Kwesi, do you like WatchOS 26? What don't you like about it?
To Chase's point, he said that runners won't necessarily need the training buddy, and I understand that. But I think it's more appealing to those who don't run, because if I'm getting up every morning at the crack of dawn and I'm gonna go run because I want to improve my life, I think hearing that voice, hey, I'm so happy you decided to get up this morning and run, I feel like that's gonna encourage me. Like, if I was someone who ran marathons, obviously I wouldn't need that. But me personally, yeah, I think that's gonna be a great feature for me. And then they also have some new gestures, like that flick gesture for notifications. I think that's great. Go ahead, Adam.
I was just going to say, it sounds like to me that Chase needs no motivation to run, and Kwesi might. And same with me. That's all I'm saying.
Can I just say too, like you guys can, like, everyone who has ever run could just call me out right now. And it's like, every runner talks like we're tough. I'm telling you, there's going to be a day that I'm going to get up and I'm going to go run, and I'm going to be like, I don't want to do this. And I'm going to start the run because I'll have the motivation to get there. And that voice is going to show up and be like, I'm really glad you're doing this today. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I'm doing this today too. So it's like, it's going to come around to me too. But all runners like to talk like they're tough and they don't need any like help and assistance. But there's going to be a day that I'm out there and Workout Buddy does something and says something that I'm like, you know what? Apple did a good thing. Like, Apple continued to do a thing that I didn't think I needed, and now I don't want to give up.
Well, the thing is, it was a very small announcement of what it's going to do. I think there's going to be far more to it that we're going to see once it's actually out. I don't have the band on my watch yet. I probably should just do that. and just see how well it works. But we all know the beta is not going to offer every feature according to launch in September. So I want to see what more it has, because that's just for running what they showed in the keynote. What about like working out and doing bench presses, or if you're going to do, I don't know, other exercises as well? Is it going to do the same for that? That's my question. So I'm curious to see how that motivates others besides runners, because that was a showcase, and we'll see.
Well, and not to mention that running is the most running is the most basic form of metrics that we're using. And so it gets way more interesting when you're like, okay, I'm taking this to the gym, or even I'm doing this on my bike. Like, we're talking about very different things that, like, watches have often needed helper tools to do well at those. Like, I need different gear on my bike to get all of the metrics that are useful in terms of like power and those things. Because like running, you need your distance and your heart rate, and that's really all the metrics. Like, it doesn't need anything more. It can give you all your pace and all your other stuff. And so it'll be interesting to see if this will elevate the uses in the, what you might call the less, like the little stranger sports. Like, what happens when we're playing you're canoeing? Like, is it going to see different things than it used to see, or whatever? Because, Apple always prides themselves on how many options there are. So,
well, and a good test of this would be the marathon. Because if anything's going to require some motivation, it's going to be that. Because it's not like, 10 miles. It's far more than that. So that could be a good assistance in the marathon. But would they say that's cheating by any chance, I wonder? It can't be cheating just for having someone motivate you. Because the fans are on the side, right? Hopefully they are.
I think it'd be hilarious if they would try to tell people that was like a coaching element you weren't allowed to have. They're like, you can't. Apple can't be coaching you. That's cheating.
Yeah, it doesn't inject you with like steroids or whatever, right? It just gives you motivation. So I think it should be fine.
Dude, wouldn't that be crazy though?
Football players would love that if that happened, right?
Yeah, just have my watch on during the game. I'm so glad you decided to show up for your football game today. Let's go knock the other team out, and then it just starts juicing me.
Other than that, do you guys see anything else with WatchOS 26 that's actually really nice and relevant? I mean, the smart stacking, they put liquid glass in it, of course. But other than that, I didn't see anything groundbreaking in this category of releases. Did you guys at all? No, it was kind of disappointing in my head too, because does that mean that the next Apple Watch is going to be just not that impressive? That comes out in September. So there is some linked information we have. We have an inside source from a engineer at Apple that I've not told you guys about yet. At the next Apple Watch Ultra, which comes out this year, by the way, is going to have a price tag of $1,000. And it's going to offer more features and more, what Chase said, it's going to offer a lot more metrics and things for exercising that we don't have now. And that's a price tag. It's been confirmed. That's what's going to be. What are you guys' thoughts?
It's insane. Hold on. This is crazy because the watch is about this big on your arm, right? Why are they charging the exact? That's more than the base iPhone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That's the price of the Pro.
Yes.
That is insane.
Well, Pro's going up too, but yeah.
Oh, no, I'm happy I bought my phone.
Pro's going to be, I think, $1,100. I think base. That's just me guessing. That's not confirmed.
Well, I would assume that if that's the case, they're probably just starting off at 256 gigabytes instead of the other thing and just dropping that 128 option. But that's not the thing. I just feel like for a watch, because the Apple Watch is $800 right now.
Currently,
Ultra is, yeah, the Ultra 2.
The Ultra. So, first off, I think that's a horrible deal. And Adam, you got to understand, I just don't think it's a great deal.
Here's the deal,
why.
and I'll say this. Those of us who have drank the Apple Kool-Aid think that $800 is fine. Yeah, mine's on the charger. Otherwise, like, it's on my wrist all the time. The only reason it's on the charger is because I tracked my sleep last night because I'm letting that thing do everything it knows how to do, right? It's just like, but those of us who have drank the Kool-Aid are like, sure, here's my $800. You want to go take your $800 to somebody else? You want to go take your $1,000 to somebody else? I'm like, Apple's going to need to do some new things, right? Like, they're going to need to make it worth my $1,000. Now, they can do that because there are competitors that have $1,000 watches. right?
Look at Rolex.
They're out there, right?
Thousands.
Well, there's that too. Like you can compare prices and go, there's just fancy watches, right? Which is $1,000 easy. But now we're talking about like precious metals and stuff, and like Apple's not in that department. You know, you can make it look fancy, but it's not real. You know, we're not talking about gold watches. We're not talking about that kind of
Apple
stuff.
Watch Edition, let's not forget that when they first came out. People bought them from the dogs. That's all I gotta say.
It's true. I'm just saying I'm actually not shocked by the $1,000 price range, like the price point. I just think that they need to do some things that make me turn my head a little bit and go, oh, we did create a new thing. It's not just like we made it thinner or we made the screen a little bigger or whatever. It needs to be an actual adaptation towards what they're going for. But I don't know what that looks like.
Let's back up with that, Chase. So would you say the Apple Watch Ultra now, you have the Series 2, correct? Apple Watch Ultra?
Yeah.
Is that, in your opinion, $800 worth every penny for what you do with it?
Well, in short, I would say yes. Like it's worth the money. And I think the main reason I can justify it is like right now is one of the rare few minutes of any day that I'm not wearing it. Like I have it all the time. You know, and there is something to be said for a device that I, for whatever reason, find use 100% of the time. Like I always have it on, and I'm always like, I care what it's tracking. I use it. I'm rarely worried about battery on it because
that's the best part.
I charge things pretty much every day anyway, so it's like not dropping to nothing. I can, it does everything I need in terms of workout metrics and running and all of those things. And not to mention that even though when it first came out, everyone was like, this thing's ginormous. Well, you start wearing it and you forget it's there entirely. You know, like there are bigger options. I would say, yes, it is worth every penny in the fact that I wear it all the time. So I really don't think it's going to be hard for them to put $200 more value in it. I think what Apple is the risk for Apple is that for people who just want a watch that does a specific thing, you can get way cheaper options that do some of the things Apple does, but just does them better. It just doesn't do as many things. And so like I see a lot of runners talking about a couple different competitors that are like you can get a $300 watch option that's actually a better running watch than an Apple Watch is, but it's not an Apple Watch, right? Like we're not talking about apples to apples, to use a bad, but it's like we're not talking about like one-to-one here. So in long, I guess, yes, I use all $800 of my Apple Watch, right? Have not regretted spending the money. I mean, I've had it since like the moment the thing dropped, right? So, and I've had no problems with it, and I don't even put a case on it. I mean, that thing's like may as well be indestructible. Like
yeah, it is. So I guess for me, and here's like a fun side note with this. I mean, I'm using the Apple Watch Ultra mostly for the battery. I'm trying to do more metrics for working out and stuff like that, which is really nice. But notifications are great too. Just quick little responses for things is nice. But for me, when my wife that doesn't use tech like I do gets an Apple Watch Ultra, this is the 2 in black, right? When she gets that and her first response within a week saying that she cannot go back to a standard Apple Watch, that's where it hits hard. Because you may not use every feature that it offers, and maybe it doesn't have all the things now that you need. But to hear that response from a non-tech person, that shows that it is worth it in my head, and it just really pushes the point that it's not like every other watch out there. There are watches that are far more expensive, as we both know. There are watches that are better than Apple, but overall for use and for what it gives you and for the ecosystem, it works very well. Now, with the new one coming out, we got to take into consideration the tariffs are coming out. That could be a big factor why it's more money. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're going to add more to it. That's going to be so much better. What I'm told from the leaker that we have, that's insider, it's going to be well worth every penny. That's all they've said. They cannot give any more information for obvious reasons. But they had it in hand. The person that I talked to had it in hand. They actually saw the prototype version, and they said it's worth it. You have to just wait. So, given that information, I'm very hopeful, and it's one of the engineers at Apple that worked on the watch itself, so it's not like someone that's in marketing, it's someone that's actually seeing it and using it right now, and that is, to me, hopeful. Now Kwesi, I just have to just point this out though. Do you not have the stainless steel Apple Watch?
I don't know if mine is stainless steel. I gotta be honest.
I'm saying,
I think I have a Series 5, but like I see my thing is the Apple Watch is like the smallest part of my Apple ecosystem. And I have everything aside from the Vision Pro. I have the MacBook, I have the iPhone, AirPods, iPad, I have everything. But like the one I find myself using the least is my Apple Watch.
No.
Like some days
I'm
I
going to
forget
push
to
back
put it
on you in
on.
there, Quasi. It's the thing that you think you're using the least. You
Yes.
wearing it
Some
right
days
now?
I even forget. No, so, like this
Okay.
morning I woke up and I forgot to put it on.
All right.
It's still sitting
couldn't
on the
do
charger
that.
in my apartment, and the reason is it got to a point where I'm like, why do I want notifications buzzing on my wrist? You know what I mean? Unless I'm working out, I really don't see the value anymore of the Apple Watch.
Well, your
Because
focus
it's
mode's
like,
Quasi. You get no notifications typically throughout the day, I'm guessing. But
because here's the thing. Have my watch on, all those focus modes are there because of the watch, because it would just constantly be buzzing and I would just constantly be doing this motion, and it gets tiring. It was like a workout all day. Just
but here's the thing though, that the second you walk into work and try to tap into a door and you have your watch, you're gonna say, I wish I had it. For me, Apple Pay on the Apple Watch is the best part about it. Not the best part. One I use the most. I go to a gas station. I go to somewhere, not Walmart, because Walmart's being, very anti-Apple right now. But in any case, they I like to use Walmart Pay. But anyway, Apple Pay is fantastic, and I love that. And I like seeing the quick notifications that I can ignore or whatever. I like that, and having the ability that I can answer a call. My wrist is down by my waist. They can still hear me. It's fantastic. I'm not sure, Chase, if you use that function, but it's way better than it should be, I think.
so when your wrist is down by your waist.
If I just have yeah. So I'm just like, it's just walking almost. And my watch is on during a call. I ask, can you hear me great? And just say I gotta kill something.
How are you hearing them?
It's like a spider. Well, I can always use Bluetooth if I really want to, but it's just it sounds great. It's way better than it should be.
I will say, give Apple their credit on their microphone technology. Like every ounce of microphone technology they have, I'm like I got experience in like audio and like all that stuff, and I'm like, I don't get how they've done what they've done. I mean, AirPods to whatever, and you could go down that rabbit trail forever, and we won't do that today. But it's like give them credit for like there's a lot of little technology that it's like this is why their watch is $800, right? Because they've done something here that is abnormal, right? So.
Now keep in consideration, we're talking about the Watch Ultra 3. There's also the base Watch plus SE models to fill that gap. So if you're not looking to spend too much money, what I find funny though, and I'm not sure if you know this, Chase, the new Apple Watch Series 10 is a larger screen size than the Ultra now. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that nuts? You're thinking that there's no way that a watch can be bigger or needs to be, but you're like, this is fantastic that it is like that.
All I have to say is kudos to Apple for when everyone was like, this watch is too big. They were like, no, you're going to love it. And the next watch they came out for the consumer. Like, yeah, the people who want something called an Ultra are not going to care how big it is, right? Like, they're not. But the fact that they doubled down and were like, yeah, but watch this. And they gave us a Series 10 and they're like, technically it's got more screen than the Ultra. And you're like, and everyone was like,
and
deal,
battery.
fine. Right? Like, it's just like, it's just funny.
It's
because it's like,
nuts.
Yeah. They get it. I mean, they are not worried about our initial reactions to stuff because they know where they're headed, right?
They do, except for Apple Intelligence. Quick little fun fact. There's something that Kwesi knew a little bit about. I emailed Craig Federighi over this little past week, and he's always responded to my emails like perfectly fine, no issues. And I asked if he could be on the podcast. And I got a response from him that same morning. So I emailed like at 5 in the morning, and like at 9, he responded. He's like, well, I got a busy week with Dub, and I had to ask LPR. And unfortunately, I found out way too late that if you do want to try to get him or some other Apple execs, you have to get them booked way before Dub. I didn't know this. So I was trying to do it
Yeah, that
like
makes
during
sense,
dub.
though.
It does make sense. But essentially he came back saying they said that like he was pre-booked and we asked too late. So
It's booking from Dub Dub now.
I never heard a no ever, okay, in that whole conversation. So I will try to my best to get him on the next dub dub and we'll see. He actually sounded excited in his emails to even do the podcast because I send the metrics of our podcast and what we're doing for views. And Apple and Craig like actually sounded like they were down, but I just asked too late. So we're gonna try by next year to get him. Just let you know, that's my goal. Okay, so I'm gonna say that out loud now. So, any case, to move on, tvOS. Quace, let's start with you. Did you find anything really crazy here, or worth having for your next Apple TV?
You know, me personally, I don't have an Apple TV. I just have, what? Oh, I lied. It's not mine. It's my roommate's, but like we use it like every day. So my apologies. I just sat here and lied to you. But I've never really paid attention to the OS, and the same was true when the event came on. I was like there, and I think I like blacked out or something. I don't even remember what they talked about for tvOS.
Well, here's
I went to wash
Um,
dishes.
here's my question for you. If you don't notice the OS of your Apple TV, when was the last time you used somebody else's smart TV technology? Because let me tell you right now,
I should.
I won't even tell you the type of TV that I have because it's not fair for me to say how awful the interface is. And the only way to use the TV is to plug something else into it, right? Like I boot my PlayStation up every time I want to stream anything because I don't own an Apple TV in my current house. I have used Apple TVs more than the average guy who doesn't have one. And like their interface is potentially the best one, right? Like Roku's doing great, right? We can talk about Roku. Fire Stick makes me nervous, right? Like it's like you get into all these things and it's like, but Apple TV, it's like everyone wants to talk about the price of an Apple TV in comparison because you can go buy like a Roku whatever for $30,
$12.
right? Yeah. But I'll tell you right now, you know what I've never had lag on me? An Apple TV. Right?
I think you haven't used it long enough.
There's that too. Everything lags with age, right? But it's just one of those things where it's like I don't know but I also go and I'm like, I don't know what you could do with the OS that I'd be like, this is better. Because right now it's just simple. It's all right in front of you. You just go get what you want. And that's really all I need from my Apple TV, right? I need to just get to the thing I actually want to be doing. There's not like function in the Apple TV I need it to have.
No, I get that. I think the best function of the Apple TV is the fact that you have the physical remote, right? And the physical remote is all right. Let me give them their credit where credit's due. Might be the best remote out of any streaming thing, any streaming box you can get. That little touchpad where it's so responsive and it's wonderful. However,
It's a weapon
that's not even
too.
the best part. Let's say you lose that remote. It is a weapon. You throw that at somebody,
So metal.
they might lose their life. But let's say you lose the remote. Guess what? I'm not worried. You know why? My phone will do the exact same thing. That's the best part about the Apple TV. I got to be honest. And I'm pretty sure now you can even find the remote with your
Yes.
Apple TV with, the same thing that you could do, the precision finding,
Yes.
which is elite. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe I lied earlier. Maybe I do need to give Apple a little bit more credit where credit's due.
Here's my complaint about the Apple TV. And I love Apple TV quite a bit, but they have so much hardware that's packed into this device that can play virtually anything that exists, except for the OS that they put it on doesn't give you full functionality of like high-res audio and high-res video of any sort. So like we all know with TV apps and streaming apps, they transcode to fit your device and your network connection, stuff like that. But you cannot natively play a 4K UHD movie off Apple TV without an app that can support it. What's sad about that is if you try to play, let's say I have a certain server somewhere that has 4K content on it, and I'm trying to play 4K UHD, even if you have a gigabit connection, it will struggle sometimes playing that, unless it's local. It's a weird little way that's how it works, and I've seen some people discussed this, even high-res audio. Now, Apple Music is the exception to that. That plays it fantastic. But if you try to play a local copy of your audio and video, it struggles. So I wish you would unlock that full potential of OS and hardware that would allow that to be the best device. Because as of right now, in my opinion, the NVIDIA Shield destroys them and how it plays everything possible that you throw at it. It does not matter what it is. It can also be a Plex server if you want it to be. So now what's sad about that is the hardware in Apple TV is actually better than the NVIDIA Shield, but the software for the Shield at least plays back better. Now the interface, like Chase said with the Apple TV, is the best overall. The Shield has like ads, it's kind of wonky how it does things, like you said, but the interface, I agree, on the Apple TV is fantastic. Now for working out, that's a huge function. If you use Apple Fitness Plus with it, you see metrics on the screen. You can see more data. That's really nice. And then you can also see more one person too if you want to do that like share workout thing they have. That's huge. So for me, I love that. But for this OS release, what I saw the most kind of sad is they're dropping support for, I think it's the Apple TV that's like 3 or 4 years old. That's a little sad. What's that mean for the rest of people that have to buy a new device now? I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Well, you're gonna end up upgrading anyway, and there's only so much that you can do to keep updating a device that's processing chip. Just you can't update the processing chip on an Apple device. All right, so like there's only so much you could do for those people because eventually it's gonna get outdated, and it's not that you want it to get outdated, but times are changing. Things are becoming more powerful. And as a result, we're running more powerful softwares that need more powerful chips for you to run them. So if your OS won't update onto your thing, it's just time for an upgrade. Like,
Yes.
don't whine and complain about it. You have to pull your big boy pants up and just go buy the new thing. Trust me, your life will be better.
Well,
I agree.
I want to know, we're talking about like Apple's starting to they're starting to allow themselves to blur some lines, right? Like you guys talked about like iPad last week, I assume, and so you have like the fact that they're letting you do some things that make it more like a Mac, right? Well, we've released a Mac Mini that's now like the same size as an Apple TV. It's like you could go solve this problem by just running a Mac Mini into your TV and getting whatever you want. You just lose the interface, and I'm not suggesting people do that because there's immense power to an Apple TV, but I'm like, what are we going to do at the TV level? It's like we're not letting people keep one for 3 years, but yet we're making computers that it's like the same size. And so it's like, you better put more juice in it, right? It's like, you better put some stuff because it's like, I mean, I at work literally just priced a Mac Mini as a portable option because getting a Mac Mini with a screen that you could put in some kind of a travel case for people is a more powerful, viable solution than buying them a MacBook Pro right now, price-wise, because their Mac Mini is so power to price. Like the ratio is just like it's so off kilter for everything they're doing that it's just like you go buy a Mac Mini and it's like you could almost put it in your pocket.
I think
it's $600.
Yeah, that's
and their base is not like is not a garbage computer. Like sometimes Apple will let you buy like an okay machine that's like good for right now, and it's like they're not doing that with this computer. Like it's like you get
there's one thing that storage.
Yeah. Well,
other than that,
not everybody's as
else.
storage hungry as Adam. So Adam doesn't believe in the cloud, I don't think. So he's like everything needs to be stored right here.
But isn't it?
He actually has a lot of cloud subscriptions.
Adam just
What's
has a lot
based
of
with
data.
that? What's based with that? Isn't it 512? Isn't it?
Let's take a look.
Yeah, you might be able to do a 256 Mac Mini.
Oh, that's good for RAM. It's not good for storage.
Okay, this is definitely Apple Watch, but I was just looking at it. Sorry, this is from earlier. I find it heinous how the Apple Watch Ultra is $300 more, the price of an iPhone, right? And it's missing some features that this thing has, that this Apple Watch Series 10 has. I was just looking at that earlier. We don't have to really get into that, but let's look at this Mac Mini price. Wait, how can I buy this? Oh,
Push the
Yeah,
buy button.
it's only $600.
That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
it's like the Apple TV that grew up. It looks so nice. Oh, oh yeah, we're seeing 256 gig.
I said only 600. Like I could just pull out $600 right now.
But that's the thing.
But I'm
The
just saying,
rest of it is
yeah, but
is
if you,
good. The rest is great.
but
Just
even
okay.
even if you turned it into $1,000 computer with 24 gigs of their unified memory and 512 of their other stuff, like what are we still talking about, right? Like even at
What? Okay.
$1,000, you can't like compete.
So here, and we talk about this in the podcast, Queasy. Apple is awful at one thing for price point, and that is storage. If you go from like a terabyte to 2 terabytes, it's like $300 to $400 price difference. That's insane. That's nuts. No one else does on the market. And I'm not saying that what they have is not good. What I'm saying is, do you not think for $600 they can at least give you like 512? I could live with 512. I don't want it still. I want a terabyte at least. But 512 is like an industry standard in today's society. So if they could just pull off a 512 and just lose a little bit of money, it's okay. They make money
Lose a
elsewhere.
little bit of money. That's not how companies work.
No. Okay, Apple's gonna do that for tariffs. They could do it for this Mac storage. Okay, it's okay. They're not gonna die as a company if they just give us a little more space. Okay, do you think they're gonna hurt at 512 gig of storage with the rest of those specs for price point? Is that gonna kill them at their overall bottom line? No, it's not. There's no
It
way.
does. Yeah, it does. And the reason it does is if they'd put their Mac Mini out at their base price of $600 with a 512 gig hard drive, what buy another they have to restructure their entire computer lineup.
Nobody buys a MacBook Pro then.
Yeah, it's like I don't.
At that point, it's just a better deal.
I'm telling you right now, that Apple is seemingly, if I would make I can make an argument that Apple's pushing people away from their laptops. And this is why I would say that. Their desktops are getting too portable, too good, too cheap. And their iPad is getting too close to a computer.
Oh,
so
especially
there's
with the new iPad OS.
There's a temptation, right? For me, like if I was going out today and then I was like, I have no computer in my life, right? I need to buy a computer that can do the things I want it to do. I'm going to buy a desktop option that has all the power I would ever need. And I'm going to buy an iPad that has all the portability I would ever need. Because with the keyboard and everything, now I'm going to overspend to do that, right? Like you're spending more money than you need to, but you're getting a lot more than the device, the MacBook that is like kind of both of those things, but it's not quite. It's like, so I don't know. As I see, I want to see what they're going to do with the MacBook as we are getting to a world where it's like, do I really need a MacBook other than the fact that I want my laptop to be able to be on my lap? It's like, otherwise, like people are docking their computers, like we're doing this already. So it's like, other than the person who works at the coffee shop every day, like are we going to run to a world where laptops are actually not people's primary option anymore? I don't think we're close to that, but I feel the fact that I would even consider going, I don't need a laptop, I'll go iPad and a Mac Mini in my life and call it a day, is like, that is a new way of thinking, at least for someone like me who lives on their MacBook.
What's crazy though, and I see this in a shift in technology in a lot of ways, is if you go to a standard user, it's not high tech like us, and say, what do you do on a computer? It's usually they browse the internet, they go on, like, check their email, they might go on YouTube, and maybe a light gaming atmosphere, if that's the case. And I tell people, an iPad can do all those incredibly well. Watching content on iPad is unbelievable in most cases. So if they're trying to not get blow with Windows or too scared to venture out to an OS for desktop experience, this is the way they can go. So there's a lot of people that are using that as their primary device. The battery lasts 1,000 times longer, and it's so portable in a lot of different ways. So that's something to keep in consideration. Now, like for us, I couldn't just run an iPad only. Like if I'm doing editing or just high-tech anything, I really can't do everything with it. But it's probably 70 or 80% there, I would say, from what I do on a computer. So that's pretty good to see that. So it's hard that when you're trying to find a device that meets your, the iPad does that, so does the Mac, and so does the Mac Mini, or just MacBook Pro. So it's a question of which one do you want to venture into, or do you get multiple and have a great day or a great week?
And I would look at it and I go, we're in the world of, do I get the one device? Do I get the one device that can mostly do everything I want it to do, or do I get the two devices so that I can do everything? I just have to pick the device I want, right? Because if I'm on a plane, I want my iPad. I don't want to get my MacBook out. And since my iPad can pretty much do everything I need to do mobilely on my MacBook, what do I need a MacBook for? But when I need the power because I'm going to go edit some video, I need to have the desktop version at home to do that with. So yeah, I mean, we're in a world where you have, like, kudos to the ecosystem. Like, go pick your best option. Like, they're giving us options, right? And you can make any of their options powerful, and you can make any of their options, like, you don't have to overkill yourself. Like, they're letting you buy the computer or the whatever that you need. So
True. Crazy, I know we talked a lot. What are your thoughts with this?
You know, me personally, I have to disagree with you, Chase. I don't think the desktop is where it's at. Because here's my thing, right? I have the MacBook Pro. I have the M3 MacBook Pro, right? And obviously, super powerful, just like the desktop would be. But here's the thing. I use an iPad mini, right? That's the only iPad I like in the entire lineup. Now, you might say, Quasey, how could you possibly use an iPad mini? It's assumed because you're a giant person, your hands are giant as well. No, let me tell you something. I wanted, now this is a little bit off topic. Did you know that I can't reach all the way across my phone? Like, look at this. This is genuinely as far as
I find that
finger
hard to
goes.
believe, Quasey, but okay.
And people ask me,
I feel like you could use a new
why I want
technique,
the
but we won't go
iPhone.
there.
No, because if I don't hold it like this, I promise you it'll fall on my face. Now, mind you, I wanted a smaller phone than this, right? So, and with me, it's always been the small stuff. So I have to use the iPad mini because, first off, in my opinion, it's the only iPad that's still an iPad.
You're
You
right.
know what I mean?
That's
It's
true.
the only one that still fills out what the original iPad filled out. Second, I'm not using my iPad for workflow. You know why? Because I could do that all on this device right here, this Mac. And, Adam gets on me a lot because I have my Mac in low power mode all the time. Here's the thing, Chase. It's not really a low power mode because of how much power this device has. You know what I mean? And let me tell you something. When I edit videos, because I edit a video every week for this podcast, and I'm talking some chunky files. It'll be like a 16 gigabyte file that I'm importing to the thing. And guess how long it takes to import?
Seconds.
Maybe 30, 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And here's what really upsets me, because back in the day, I used to edit on Final Cut Pro back when I was in I think middle school. And then, I moved and they made me use Premiere Pro when I got certified in Premiere Pro. And that was on Windows computer. And neither of those computers could ever export. Mind you, we only recorded in 1080p, right? And it would always take an entire class period just to export. So you'd have to get all your work done the previous class period just so you could export it the next class period. And I've never had, dude, like maybe max 15 minutes. Max 15 minutes. And that's like a full 4K stream with like me just bouncing back between Adam and me just in 4K with also a third stream of us both on the screen in 4K. It's just like, if I can carry around that power with me, why would I choose to leave it behind? That's just where I'm at.
What if you could leave more power at home and through the cloud you could do all your editing mobile, and you could do that from
I really think that's what I was gonna say earlier. You know how Windows has the remote desktop, or I don't think it's called remote desktop, but you can use your laptop to get into your desktop, and I think it works on your phone too. I don't know why that hasn't come to Apple.
It is.
Especially, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did I just lie to everybody?
Yeah, you lied to everybody. I use this literally every day at work.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, you should watch that. But I don't know that it's like, it's not the same as like, I don't want to be using that like at the coffee shop on the Wi-Fi getting on my home computer. Like, it's not like, and you're not going to be video editing via remote desktop, right? Windows, I think you might have that stability, but it's like,
It's okay.
like I could do that if I was at like in the office on the same network already as the other device. But it's like the day that they go, hey, take your iPad, but you could use your iPad as a mobile version of your at-home power station. It's like, oh, okay, well now you have my attention, because
Yeah.
now I can just open up my Final Cut from home, and I can use I could put a Mac Studio at home that just cranks. You let that thing render and it's not even doing anything on your current device. Like we're in a whole nother world now. But no, it's the MacBook Pro has power. Like, this is not a joke. This is a computer that can do all of the things. Like, I have access to wicked awesome Mac Studios all the time. And I'm like, do I want to get up from my desk and move over 10 feet? Or do I just want to use the power I already have sitting on my desk, right?
So true.
Like, that's a testament in itself.
There's one thing I forgot to mention I did not want to miss about the new Apple Watch OS 26. And they're going from ARM 32 to ARM 64-bit. Now, I'm not sure if that means a lot to a lot of people, but for developers, that is everything. That means more processing, a better way to interface with the OS and how it works, how things relay in code. And that is a massive jump that they're going to have. So that does mean for sure the next chipset for the Apple Watch will probably be a very new Apple Silicon that we're going to be so excited to see. I'm not sure if you guys care about that as much. I'm kind of a developer. I'm trying to do more of this stuff, but just seeing what you can do with that and the Apple dev stuff right now that you can see on the developer side of Apple, it's fantastic. So that's one feature that's going to bring more to it that Xcode gave you a lot of functionality to do. So just to mention that before we get too far.
Yeah, and sorry, while we're on the topic of developers, remember when I put the developer beta on my iPhone 15?
Oh, here we go. Yes, I do.
Guys, I've got to say, I regret that decision. I got hit with the white screen of death, and it's just it's not looking good for that phone.
On the phone, mind you, that he has to give back to Verizon for his trade-in value to be effective.
Yeah, my brother's taking it on Thursday, and
That's going to affect your trade-in value. You know that,
let's
right?
hope.
They're going to try to turn it
Well-
on, and they're going to say, wow.
Well, here's the thing, right? It can't affect it that much because it's just a software thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's Apple software. It's not like
But it might
put
not
on
be.
something else.
I mean, this phone's been through a lot, as you know, Quasi. The back
It
shattered,
has been through
the camera doesn't work,
quite a bit.
and now we have an OS that is completely broken. So
It
it's
sounds
a
like
little
they're not going to
scary.
be concerned about the OS. That's what I just heard you say.
That's
They're
true.
not-
Here's the
you're
thing.
gonna take that in. They're gonna be
You
like,
don't know
no,
the
you're
camera doesn't
already
work
you're
unless we
already in
use
the
the
low
OS.
tier of trade-in. We
Oh.
don't care if the screen turns on great. Like we'll figure it out.
Quasi,
They
tell
don't know
Chase,
that.
tell him how much you got for trade-in value. This is crazy.
$820.
What?
What? Yes.
See, that
What?
was my
You
reaction,
said
but I wasn't
$820?
gonna sit there. I wasn't gonna sit there and tell the lady, I think you need to reassess.
No, you don't tell
You know
them
what
that.
I mean?
What?
You said $820. Go ahead and credit that to my account. You can have the phone tomorrow. You know what I mean? She told me
Jeez.
take 30 days.
These phone companies be doing some crazy stuff when it comes to like trade-in. There's
I
like
think $820 is just as much as I paid for it too.
They
Yeah,
just
this is what I'm
want you to be
saying.
locked in. That's all it is. They don't really care as much. They want you locked into your agreement.
Yeah, they don't care what you're paying for your phone because we can be I don't even want to know what price margins and profit margins are on just the fact that I'm paying them to use my phone. Like,
Oh,
it doesn't cost them more
literally.
money for me to be on the same tower as all these other people. I mean, I'm sure it does. Some execs somewhere just like threw up in their mouth a little bit because every phone that hits their tower like matters to them and it's all money, right? Like, and I'm like, yeah, okay, like true, but also like I don't have to pay you this much money for all this.
Yeah.
But because of that, Quasi just got $820 for his like near broken phone that doesn't even
Well-
run right now. So
we have to do this in the
Well,
podcast.
it was running when I was there, when I was at Verizon. Like it was because it was still on iOS 18.
Okay.
Oof.
You have to give us an update
No,
when you get that trading value back. If you get that, we have to do that. How about that? We'll see.
we'll do.
Okay, we're going off topic a little bit. So let's move on to VisionOS 26. Quite, Chase, I know you went to the Apple Store with a group of people, did you not,
Hmm.
to test this out? Um, just quickly, what was your experience with that? Because I did
With
too.
the test.
Yes.
Simply put, Apple Vision Pro is what Apple says it is. It is a device that does not. It is not in a space where it is competing with the other VR headsets. Like, they don't even call it a VR headset, and I think that's fair. I thought that was ridiculous when they were saying that. They're like, this is a spatial computer. This isn't a VR headset. And I was like, who cares? You're putting it on your face, and it is virtual reality. And it's not, right? Like, it's, first of all, the hand tracking technology, fantastic. Flawless.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
I'm sitting at a table, and the table barely is enough to, like, block like what it's trying to do. There's not a control, like there's no remote or controller. It's tracking your eyes, which is a weird thing to get used to because like everyone wants to look at something they're not working on, which is like something you don't ever think about. Like I'm typing here, but I want to like look over here, and that's like not really how it works. But I mean, everything from I can put a window wherever I want and it stays there is impressive. From just the fact, I mean, the screens in it are incredible. Right, like I have a
I almost cried when I saw it.
I have a Quest 2, like personally, right, just for my own
Absolutely.
enjoyment, right? And no, that is not a competitor to the Apple Vision Pro, right? And the Quest 3 is closer, like that's, I mean, but it's still not a competitor. Like they're not in the same space. They're not looking for the same people to buy them. But it's like, man, it looks good, dude. Like it looks good. Like you put it on, and people want to talk about it being uncomfortable. It's not that bad, right? Now,
Was it
it's
heavy for
uncomfortable.
you? Was it
I
heavy in
didn't
your
think
in your
about
hand?
it. I didn't
Okay.
think about it. Like I only did the demo, right? So I'm not doing what they talk about people wearing this hours and hours and hours, you know,
I
and they
couldn't
talk
do
about
that.
using all the time. And it's like I'm not at a place where I even want to do that with any headset, let alone something that's kind of heavy. It was not light, right? Like you knew it was there, but I mean, it looked good. I was talking to the guy in front of me, like, cause I could see right through it. I mean, some of the, like, he got too close and now he breaks through like the virtual barrier. I felt like it's all
Yeah.
done really well and really clean. And so I'm impressed, but I don't think I still think we're at a place where it's like, we got to get the technology smaller. And I'm so glad that I don't have to develop that.
Okay, question for you about your demo. Did you get the demo where a butterfly land on your hand? Did you get
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Not me at all. And I was super upset about that. Not that it wasn't a good experience, but I like that's the thing that everybody says that's the best part about the demo because
Well,
it's super accurate. And I'm like, okay, great. And then that's demo 2. I got demo 1. So I asked for demo 2 right afterwards, and I got rescheduled another appointment, which me and Quasi are going to do, by the way.
you should
So
do.
just we are. Yeah, he has not yet experienced Vision OS, and that is unacceptable in most cases. So the price point's too high. They need that's got to get lowered. That's
Well, I also think that they're building a workflow that doesn't work in our VR headset form factor. And I don't have an
yeah.
answer for them that doesn't sound like it's from a movie. Like I don't have an actual technological answer. They're building something that the day we can put this technology in a pair of glasses, everyone will own.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like everyone will own.
And next year.
Right, like the moment it is in a place that I can put on my glasses in the morning and the battery lasts me all day and I have everything on my in front of me for people who want that, right? Some people are like, I don't need to be that tied to my technology, but like that will be the day that you go, this is what Apple wanted and this is what they wanted the whole time. But you can't fit that. There's so much power in it. Like you can't fit that in that form factor. But someday, I mean, technology is always getting smaller.
I have the Meta Quest. Sorry, it's not the Quest. The Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and this is just prepping me for what Apple is going to release. These are not a full blown AR VR headset and glasses. Like it's not what they're for, and it's not what they do. But when Apple has that next year, sorry, 2027 is when it's going to be out. That is going to change everything because that might really hurt the Vision Pro in general. Now, it's not going to offer all those features, correct? But it's something that I'm looking forward to and see what they're going to do because it's so tiny tech, tinier than an Apple Watch. But I'm excited to see that. But Kwesi, I guess Kwesi and Chase, what did you guys find interesting with VisionOS 26 besides the massive jump from VisionOS 3 to 26?
I gotta be honest with you. I did not even like I did not pay attention to any part of the Vision OS. Like there's two parts of every Apple presentation that I don't pay attention to. Obviously, Vision OS is one of them because I don't have a personal Vision Pro. You know what I mean? I've actually never even touched the Vision Pro.
We're changing that.
So like it just didn't matter to me. Now, I do feel like I'm letting the people down because I should have came with an opinion ready and I should have like really went in depth about how nuanced the new operating system is and like all the little bits that, have changed, but all I know is that it's liquid glass, or I'm assuming.
Liquid glass. I just want to know. This is what I really want to know. We watch Dub, right? And they're out here and they're putting these big old like paperweight type things all over this desk. Like that's how they designed liquid glass. There's no truth in this, right? Like they're over here, like
those are
they're over
cool,
here. It's a great graphic. Like it looks like these guys are like, look at this cool like artsy thing we're doing, and it's like glass, and we've developed it as this like top down view, so we know what it looks like. It's like, nah. You had guys sitting on a computer really pulling this together. Like I think liquid glass is like one of those things we look at and we go, do we really need that? And then we're gonna get it. We're like, man, this feels nice, right? But I just laughed because I was watching. I was like, I would love to think that some developers are sitting in an office and they're all moving pieces of actual glass around a desk so they can try to figure out how it interacts with each other.
Funny fact, the guy that was ahead of the entire OS overhaul has been fired from Apple the day of Dub. The day of.
That's great.
I don't think that was. I mean, there's a backstory that I don't really know, but I like it. I think it looks nice, except if you do the full blown clear glass that's like a white tint. That looks pretty treacherous, to be honest, but. Other than that, it does look pretty nice in general, in my opinion.
I can't blame them though, because it's
Gaussian blur.
I'll tell you right now, I'm a youth volunteer at church, right? So when I hang out with teenagers, the amount of them that are using monochrome, and they got so much, Apple got crap for that too, where it was like, because it looked terrible, and I go and I got teenagers that look at me and go, "Why you got all the colors? Why isn't this all one?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I see their phone and they're like, "This is the way." And I'm like, "Whatever, man." Like
I weep for the youth, man. That's the case. That's so sad.
Yeah, no, my older brother has the same thing, and my little brother too. And it's like, I genuinely don't understand how you think that looks good. And how do you know which app you're about to click if they all look the same?
I think people have stopped clicking apps. I think everyone's swiping down and typing in what they want.
Oh, absolutely
You're right.
not. Me.
We're just hiding things at this point. We're not there was a day where I cared about the folders and cared about moving stuff around. No, I got too many apps on my phone. I slide down, I type in what I want. I don't even waste time figuring out where it is.
Yes.
Except for the few that I use all the
it.
time, and those
Same.
are like the 3 or 4 on the dock. Otherwise, it's like swipe down, boom.
The one feature that it has that I love a lot is the widgets that you can customize and literally place anywhere, and it stays in that one spot as you move around the room and stuff. That's pretty nice. Other than that, liquid glass is a feature, but they didn't do too much with this either. I think this is a year to play it safe at Apple, because last year they announced too many things that they couldn't deliver on. And they got to stop that. I mean, they just really have to stop that. And they did this OS for Dub. Nothing here that I see is not in the beta. Now, I can't testify for every feature of every OS because I don't have everything like that. But I will say for the phone, it's pretty much all there right off the bat. So unlike Apple Intelligence, that we'll get in 2 years, it's just there. So I applaud them for playing it safe and not announcing they're not going to actually just do and release this year. So that's my take on VisionOS. Is there any final thoughts with this before we move forward to the big discussion that we'll try to keep short?
Big to big discussion?
Oh, there's a big discussion coming up, and you guys, it's going to be Quasi and Chase versus Adam. I know it. I know it is.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
Stop being so wrong, Adam.
Let's just move on to a big topic. Did you guys hear about a thing called the Switch 2 that came out like a little bit ago?
You might have to refresh my memory on that one. No, I'm joking.
it's just thing from Nintendo that they released to compete in the market of just handhelds and gaming in general. But I have a lot of thoughts on the Switch 2. I had a lot of thoughts before it came out, and I still have way too many thoughts and discussions with it. But let's start off with Chase first, and then Quasi on with the Switch 2 being out now in public and been out for a bit. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's worth buying? Do you think the price point's good? And just the overall what they've released and announced.
Oh, man. Gosh, everything's so expensive anymore that it makes me think about everything that I buy. And I don't even think that they've priced the Switch unfairly. And that's what's crazy about it. Because, I say this, you spend that much on a gaming console. Like, it's what you spend anymore. So I can't blame them. Now, like, $80 a game, like, we're getting somewhere like that is whatever. But it's like, people aren't going to think about $500. I'm telling you right now, you can't buy a Switch anywhere right now, a Switch 2, and there's a reason, because people are spending the money. So kudos to their economics, right? Like, whatever. And I just, my hardest part about the Switch has always been, I don't know how to talk about it as a competitor because I don't know who's doing what Switches do, right? The people are, like, those games, yeah, no, you don't, because people are doing better things in the handheld department, but I don't think that Nintendo is trying to have the best handheld. They're trying to have the best Nintendo device. Because what can you do on a Nintendo device that you can't do on anything else? You can play Nintendo games. And there's a reason that they haven't released Nintendo games to Steam and to get played on all these. Like, the moment you can play Mario on your PlayStation or your Xbox, Nintendo is done making consoles. Because there won't be a reason to. Because I can now play Mario in 4K on a device that lets me do that. Rather than, hey, we're going to keep putting out devices that can't do resolutions that everyone's TV can do, right? So we get this where it's like, we have all of this. They're not in the power game. They're in the entertainment game. And they are putting out new Mario Karts and new games and new things. And people are all over that. And but I'll tell you, I'm a sucker for Mario Kart, and I'm trying to figure out if Mario Kart is worth $550 to me or whatever it will be, right? Like, is playing the new Mario Kart worth all this money? And I'll tell you, I have bought consoles for single games before.
I know.
Now, it turns into for more games, right? But I have sought out consoles because there is a single game I need, like, that console in order to play. And so, kudos to Switch. I think it took them way too long to put out a second Switch, and honestly, because of the amount of time it took them to put it out, I wish it was more powerful and could do more things, but people are still going to buy it because a Switch does what a Switch does.
They're out. They're sold out everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean, everywhere.
Everywhere.
There is some, like, Targets and Walmarts that still have, because it's like in a town that has 8 people most, but, like, other than that, everywhere else is completely gone, and there's already dust in the cabinets. For being gone so long.
Last time I walked into a Best Buy, they literally just have a sign at the front door before you get to the second door that just says, we don't even have any.
Yeah.
Because we know that's why everyone's walking in here. Like, don't even come in. Like, there's nothing to get here. We don't have a Switch 2. Sorry.
And that's changing soon, by the way, too. Nintendo is pumping out some more in phase 2 and 3, so we'll see how that works out for them. Okay, Quasi, I want to hear your thoughts really quick.
Okay, so if you remember, before I was like this huge fan of the Switch 2. But now I'm just not a fan at all, you know?
I'm shocked.
It's
shocked.
It's some things some decisions that they chose to make. The first one being that when you buy the Switch 2, you're not actually buying the Switch 2. You're buying a license to play said Switch 2, right? And that means that whenever they want, Nintendo can go. Mind you, you paid $500 for this device. But whenever they want, Nintendo can just go in there and just not allow you to play any more games. Sure, I'm sure they'll have a valid reason for doing so. Like you jailbroke the device that you paid $500 for. Or, pirating games is not a good thing. I'll never tell you to pirate games unless it's, something that's not supported anymore, like a 3DS. But I still wouldn't tell you to pirate games. But like, that's not even the main thing for me. The other thing is, did you know that a game on the Switch 2 costs $80? And here's the thing.
Base.
I'm that's for the physical cartridge, I'm pretty sure. Or I think the physical cartridge might be 90.
It's more.
I can't remember right now. All that I know is, Adam, the game isn't even stored on the cartridge.
There's no storage besides like the same storage that PS2 memory card had for the Pride Key.
Yeah, all that's on the cartridge is the license to download the game.
Yes.
So it's like at this point, I don't know what Nintendo's doing. I'm not a fan of what they're doing. Am I gonna buy the Switch 2? Probably not this year.
You want my
We might hold off.
my hot take on what Nintendo's doing? Nintendo is doing what Apple's doing, and they know people want Nintendo, and they can price it however they want because they can put out the next best thing and make it $550, and it's gonna sell out everywhere. They can put out just like Apple Watch is gonna put out the Ultra 3, and it's gonna be $1,000, and you won't be able to get one.
Okay.
And it's like, it's the same thing because they have something no one else has. And they know they have it. And like you said, it's going to cause some pushback because it's like, I also know that at any moment you could decide I can't have what you have and no one else has, right? But if they're proven they can price it whatever they want, people are buying it.
I'll go through this quickly because if I do this too long, I'm going to get mad. But I'm conflicted too. The Switch 2 is proven to be much better in performance than the Switch 1. That's a fact. It does have a premium feel to it. There's metal to it as well as plastic, and it does feel a lot better from what everybody's saying. And it does have overall better experience to play games. That is a positive. There is some people pointing out some features that scare me a lot. Biggest thing that I do not like is that this is a humongous anti-consumer device. If you take a cartridge that you might have washed in the washer and dried and it kind of works still, and that voltage is different, now your Switch is completely bricked. Your account's banned. You can't do anything more with Nintendo at all. I don't like that. I know that there's a lot of people that try to crack these and try to pull games off the ROMs. I get all that, but happens with every other device as well. But they're going way, way too hard on this, I think, than they ever should have. I also think there's one big issue that I just seen the other day that scares me a lot. The dock was not designed well at all. People are putting their Switch into the dock without a screen protector, and now it's scratching the screen when they take it out. The Switch in the dock is like it wobbles. So it's not solid like the Switch 1 was. That's a big concern for me. I still think the Joy-Cons over time are going to break the console because that port inside the Switch that it connects to, that little cartridge port, it sticks out too far. So if you push that Joy-Con back for any reason, is it going to break things off or going to cause, those tips of that connection to be just broken? I don't know quite yet. But I will say this. There are games that are going to come out for Switch 1 that I really wish came out for Switch 2 Switch 2 for Switch 1 as well, but they're not going to. Like, I'm not going to see Mario Kart World on Switch 1. I really wish that they did do that. I get selling point to get the new console. I understand that. For me, though, the biggest reason why I would ever buy one is for playing Mario Kart and some of the newer games. Now, am I going to play Cyberpunk on Switch 2? Absolutely not. I have a Steam Deck and I have Steam and all this other stuff to play that with. But there are those exclusive games, like new Pokemon games coming out and games for Mario Kart and so on that are coming out that I'm excited for a lot. So I'm on the fence. I kind of want one for certain things, but man, it's deep in me not to because they're just going too much this year on making sure that it's locked down. The EULA states, if you read it, they can physically come to your house and just take it from you if they want to. And you cannot sue them or do anything about it. What? Like who's
No, it's
doing
insane.
that? That is ridiculous. Like, is that completely necessary? Like, that's more of like your parents grounding you from your console. That's all that means. So I don't like that at all. And then if there's ever a problem like that and you get console banned or account banned, you're done. Now I bought all this, I can't use any of it. Or buy a second set and use it ever again. Let's say I make a new account. That's scary to me. Why is that getting pushed so heavily and no one else is doing that? What are you guys' thoughts?
My thought is that Nintendo is protecting the one piece of value they have left.
But too much.
They can do it in different ways.
I know they can do it in a different way, but they don't care.
This is insane.
Right? Like, I think that's what they're telling us. Like,
you from online.
they're like, they don't care. Like, they're like, we have one thing, and it's our unique stuff. So if you guys want to try to break our stuff, and yeah, I know that the tone I'm using right now to be Nintendo is just like my parent or whatever being like I turned into a toddler all of a sudden. They're like, we're going to give you this thing, and it's a privilege, and we can take it away. And you're like, yeah, but I paid $550. I paid $500 for a privilege. Like, this is where it doesn't work, right? This is where it breaks. But it's like, to me, I'm like, I think it screams to me that like Nintendo is nervous.
Yes.
Right? Because they know people are getting better at breaking things and jailbreaking stuff and getting access to things that like Nintendo doesn't want you to have access to, and making things more available to people on different devices that can do things better than the device they're putting out. I mean, that's part of it too. It's like they don't want you to be able to emulate this game on a device that could run it better than their device.
Steam Deck.
Like, which is not hard because their device isn't that powerful. And like, it's not like and so I kind of go like, I don't know, like, I don't love how Nintendo's handling it, but I think they're scared and they have to protect the one thing that they have, which is the novelty of we have games no one else has because we're Nintendo, and we have to like protect that with everything. The problem is you start protecting that too hard, and then you get people who are like, meh, it's not worth the iron fist that you have to like you are clutching this so hard. I don't want to deal with the white knuckles, right? Like, sorry. Because what's going to happen is people are going to lose access to thousands of dollars of games at some point because you
can't even sue.
And you can't sue, right? You can't do anything.
I think it's going to cause people to be more cautious.
And, well, that's what they want, right? That's what Nintendo wants.
Forces them to.
Right? And I think that we're going to run into a place that we're going to, like, just like the three of us that are like, do I really want to get into that? Like, is it worth that? And then on top of that, is it worth the price point for what I'm buying? Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. And so, I don't know. Like, I like Nintendo's product in the sense of, like, I like their games. And I like what they're doing. And I like that they're in a space that no one else is doing, really. Not very well, right? The whole couch co-op arcade feel is a Nintendo. That is a Nintendo almost exclusive at this point.
It is. 100%.
And we all want it, right? Like, everyone wants it. And so, I don't know, maybe that's a call to the other developers. And like, I'm looking at Sony and Microsoft and all these other game developers. Maybe you guys should start developing the arcade style, like compete with the Marios and the Mario Karts and these things, and do it in a way that forces Nintendo to make different decisions. I don't know. Maybe it's really a call to the competitors to step up and just go, hey, we need to do better. Because
I did find it very funny. Sorry to interrupt, Chase.
No, you're good.
There was a quick turn event that I was not expecting, and nothing was done by Valve with this at all. But when the Switch 2 came out, people were on YouTube and stuff telling people that you're better off just buying a Steam Deck because it has more performance and all that other stuff, right? To the point where Valve has sold every single OLED Steam Deck to date that they have in stock, just like the Switch. I was not expecting that at all, neither was Valve, and now they're like far behind on making the demand to get things back in stock. So that was something, just a little curveball with this whole thing too. If you not know about the Steam Deck, look it up. I don't want to get too much into that right now, but just something to consider. But I know Quasi has a schedule to meet, so we have to do something
Yeah, we are a
really.
little bit over
We have to do
time
something
today
really
because
quick.
I got football camp.
App of the week. Quasi, do you have app of the week?
Do I have an app of the week?
We'll see if Chase does too.
You know me, I always have an app of the week. So Chase, we did not fill you in on this. If you listen to our podcast, you would know. But earlier you said last week you guys talk about iPad OS. Quote, I assume that's what you said, which means you did not listen to last week's episode.
Don't call
And
me out like that,
I was
Quasi.
truly distraught. I was like hurt in the moment.
Well,
And
hopefully the moment's over.
It really hit right there. But yeah, the moment is over. We're moving forward, So for me, app of the week was kind of tough this week because the whole time I was playing with my iPad, and I have so many apps on my iPad. But really, the only reason I was on my iPad was because I wanted to use the new window tiling feature. So as a result, this week we're doing a productivity app because obviously with the new window tiling, you can be a lot more productive. And my app of the week this week is going to be Notability. Now, I've had Notability for a while, but I don't have my iPad with me right now for some reason. I just, being able to take notes on Notability and, kind of correct your handwriting a little bit. I don't have the sloppiest handwriting, but it'll correct it a little bit. You can use the AI to do what the AI does and when it comes to note taking. And Notability is just, I think it's just between Notability and GoodNote 6 that are like the top two when it comes to note taking. So my pick this week is Notability.
Okay. Chase, do you have one?
Man, so I'm gonna give you two because I'm gonna give you one that's real and I'm gonna give you one that's fun. You ready? So here's the deal. I use Monarch is my app that I use the most. If you need a budget app, I just encourage you to go over there and find it. Right? It's great. It does all the things I need it to. I don't have issues with it. It handles all my money. But speaking of money, the app I downloaded this week was the Krispy Kreme app because if you get Krispy Kreme donuts, you had a 13-cent dozen on Friday the 13th. And honestly, that deal is enough for me to say that's my app of the week because you couldn't get it if you didn't have that app in store.
Oh my gosh.
And I paid a penny and whatever, a 12th per donut on Friday. So I think that gives them all the credit that they need.
Wow.
Thank you, Krispy Kreme. Also, credit to Krispy Kreme. You don't need an account to use their app. Just get in as a guest and you can order donuts.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. That's fantastic. Oh my gosh.
You didn't know Krispy Kreme was doing things other people weren't doing, but they are.
No.
Welcome to donuts.
Krispy Kreme is on top of stuff.
And the donuts are so good too. Oh, anyway, my app of the week is 1Password. It's an app that I've used for several years. I actually started using because of the Apple keynote. They actually mentioned that themselves, and the Apple uses themselves today even. And I've used it for several years because I hate trying to remember like over 200 different passwords that are unique for every type of login that I do. I know there's a lot of people that use the same password for like a lot of different sites. Very bad idea. Do not do that. But I'm to a point in my life where I don't want to know any password except a single password. And that's again this app because I don't want to have to worry about any of that ever again. I keep them as long as possible, so it's very hard to get in my accounts. You turn on 2FA if you can for everything you can. And it makes things very nice because of what they call Watchdog, where they show you if your account's compromised somewhere. So for me, that's fantastic and worth every penny. It's like super, super cheap too to have it. And it's never failed me at all. And the 8 years I've had it, and I love it. So for me, it's 1Password.
8 years? Yeah. 8 years is kind of crazy.
And you've seen the iterations of that for sure. That's crazy.
I've seen, it's vastly improved every single year. So, okay. Any closing comments really quick or no?
Just thank you so much, Chase, for being willing to come on the podcast and having a great conversation with us. It's not every day that we have a guest. I think you're actually our first guest. Well, I know you're actually our first guest. So just thanks for taking your time out of your morning. I know you're a very busy individual, but we really appreciate you taking the time to come spend time with us.
Hey, I appreciate it. I have had a great time.
Pleasure.
Hopefully this isn't the last time. I'll just say that out there. I'd join you guys in anytime. So obviously, I don't have the time to do this every week with y'all, and you don't want me as your third, but this was a great time, and yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Thanks, Chase, again. Really appreciate that. I know we had a discussion about this, and I'm glad just it came out, and it's fantastic. As always, try to look at our descriptions for the Discord server, which maybe we can get Chase Quasey to join so we can have a person that joins the Discord. Because we're having such a hard time
We
with that
still
right now.
Yet to have people. I think that's like the place where we get the least engagement.
I think so too. I don't know why. I mean, it's just because our audience does not have Discord. I'm not quite sure. That's okay. But please just make sure to look there for announcements at least if you can. But we're on every platform still. We're also on YouTube. Don't forget that. And I will do my best to post the Discord link and then all the things we talked about. Thanks so much, everybody. Really appreciate it. Have a fantastic week.
All right. Have a great week.